All right, guys, welcome back to Agent Investor, the only brand that helps real estate agents get off the real estate roller coaster by blending being a real estate agent and being an investor. And when I say blending, I don't mean that you're going to be spending extra time being an investor. I don't mean that you need to carve out or figure out how to work more. You just need to learn the basic principles on how to do both. And that's what we teach. We teach on what I call the agent investor model. We've got a great episode today. I'm going to be talking about the 8 very, very easy things that all real estate agents can do to help build their wealth today. Stuff that you can do, and you can start literally right after you finish listening to this podcast episode, that you can implement no matter where you're at in your business. But before I go into that, I'm going to talk a little bit, just for a minute, about a very, very successful agent partnership deal that we did with a local agent, local to my market, named Kevin McCafferty. The final, and to make this very, very quick, the final profit on this deal, 501 Chestnut Street in Lynn, Massachusetts, feel free to look it up, was well over $200,000. Now, I've been quoting on this podcast for a while that the average profit that we split with agents is $80,000. It's actually a little bit more than that now. We've had some big deals that have closed recently in the past couple of months where the profit was well over 100,000. I've got to take another look and probably get back to see what our average profit is at this point, but now it's well over 80,000. And I want to highlight this deal just because of how much this can change people's lives, our agent partnership program. So obviously Kevin found this deal, 501 Chestnut Street in Lynn, Massachusetts. Just let us know about it. Just referred it over to us. We bought the property. We put up the money. We were actually able to give him some of his profits up front before we even bought the property. That's a feature that we added maybe 6 to 9 months ago, that we are willing to give real estate agents a portion of their profit when we buy the property. So you actually don't even have to wait until we renovate the house and resell it to get paid. You get a portion of your profits up front. Now, this deal, like I mentioned, it made well over $200,000. And I'm here to just tell you and be honest with you. If you guys listen to my podcast, if you have ever been to my events or you know me, you know I'm not going to just kind of, make stuff up. I'm going to tell you the real thing, really how this stuff is. And the reality of this deal, while it was extremely profitable, while we cut Kevin a check for 6 figures, was just like pretty much every other deal that we ever do, right? We go out there, we meet with the seller, we put the property under contract, we buy the property according to the seller's timeline, and then we do the renovation and we resell it. When we bought this property, when we made an offer on this property, we had a projected profit, I think, of between $50,000 and $60,000, somewhere in that range. So what happened? Well, and you can look at this online. You can look at the Zillow, or of course, if you're a Massachusetts agent, you can go on the MLS. I think we listed this property for about $650,000, and it ended up selling for $800,000. It sold for $150,000 over asking. Now, how did that happen? Again, how did this deal become so profitable? And again, just being completely honest with you, this just happens from time to time. When you fix and flip homes, you will get these surprises that happen. They don't happen every deal, right? Not every deal that you're going to do, not every flip you're going to do is going to be a $200,000 profit. Nope. I'm here to tell you that flat out. However, the biggest benefit for real estate agents in our agent partnership program is that they get all the upside of what that could be, right? So if that property, I'm putting air quotations because $650,000 is still a lot of money. If that property only sold for $650,000, Kevin still would have made a good amount of money. That still would have been a great deal for him. And that was what we projected. And a lot of times what we project comes pretty true. We're pretty accurate on what we think the resale is going to be. But when things go better than expected, and as I'm shooting this right now, it is May 22nd, 2025. In a lot of markets across the United States, because of the high interest rates and the low interest rates that sellers have locked in, there's still no inventory out there. So from time to time, you get a property for whatever reason, a bunch of people want it, offers go through the roof, and then you sell it and you make more than you thought. So why am I telling you this? Again, when I quote, that the average profit is $80,000, and again, I mentioned it was a little bit higher now. It can be a lot more than that, right? And my whole thing when I talk about the agent investor model, there's 3 steps to it. Number 1, keep selling real estate for a living and focus a little bit more of your time on sellers to pay your bills. Step number 2, offer cash offers to all your sellers and flip properties. You can do them on your own or you can partner with us. But step 3, which is like the most important part, is now that Kevin has that $100,000, that check that we're sending to him, invest that money in passive assets to pay you forever so you get off that real estate roller coaster. Okay. So sometimes partnering with us on just one deal in a year is going to give you enough money to invest in an asset that's going to pay you forever. Right? So Kevin should be able to turn around, invest that capital, and make $1,000, $1,500 a month for the rest of his life. Right? It's that simple. That's what being an agent investor is all about. For those of you who want to learn more about how to find these deals, right? Because that's a big part of it. Some agents, they hear about our partner program, but they think, well, I haven't come across an opportunity. And that is most likely because you don't know where to look. We teach and train agents on where to look every single day on my weekly call. Go to www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com to jump on my call, to ask questions live, to learn about our partner program, to learn about how to find these deals, right? We can teach you how to find a deal a quarter. Right? You do 4 of these deals in a year, you're doing really, really well. All right, enough about the partner program. If you want to learn more, go to www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. But let's just jump in now to the 8 things that you can do. 8 things you can do now to build wealth as a real estate agent. Okay? Number 1, limit the transactional work that you do on a day-to-day basis by hiring a virtual assistant. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, I don't have the money to pay a virtual assistant. Where I'm going to tell you exactly how we've done it, how I recommend doing it. On every single listing, on every single buyer agreement that I have done, I always have standard in my contract that there's going to be a $500 transaction fee to pay for administrative services. Now, of course, like everybody else, I go out, I meet with the seller, I explain the benefits of what they're going to get for that $500. There are sellers out there who I have to waive that $500 fee, but I recommend putting it in your contract and talking to them about it. If you're like me, if you're a salesperson and you are more a sales-oriented, maybe less detail-oriented person, having a virtual assistant do that transaction coordination type work, do your administrative type work, is actually going to provide more value to the client. I know, when I used to go out there, I haven't listed or sold homes in a while. But when I used to go out there, I used to want to do so many things for my buyers and sellers. And a lot of times I never did them. Not because I didn't want to, but because flat out, like I just wasn't at a desk. And if you're a successful agent, you know that like, while there is desk work to be done, a lot of times your natural inclination is to go out there and try to generate more business. That's a really good thing. That's the exact reason or how having a virtual assistant will help you scale. It's really, really hard as a real estate agent to do both. like you're in the selling mode where you're out, you're meeting people, you're adding people to your database, right? You're talking to people, you're posting on social media. And then you have to go and you have to do all this transactional desk work. Okay. Virtual assistants do not cost a ton of money, especially, if you're going to have them be paid for out of your normal contracts, right? You don't have to charge the $500 on a buyer agreement or on a listing agreement. You can pay for it out of your own money. But I'm just giving you guys ideas how I've done it, right? You do 15 transactions in a year. That's $7,500, right? That's $600 a month, essentially, somewhere in that range, 625 a month, depending on how many transactions you do. That's enough money to pay a virtual assistant part-time, 15, 20 hours a week, right? And you can find virtual assistants anywhere. My recommendation for that is to throw an ad up on Indeed. Of course, in the country of choice, which there are a lot of countries out there that, people will be virtual assistants. The one that's most commonly chosen is the Philippines. That's where I would recommend doing this. Of course, we could talk all day about how to work with virtual assistants, but I want to move to bullet point number 2. But number 1, things you can do today to build wealth, get more of your time back, right? By using virtual assistants and have it paid for by being in your contract. All right, bullet point number 2. Now that you've got some of your time back, right? Because your virtual assistant is going to help you with some of your transactional stuff. Spend the first 1 or 2 hours a day, every day, in seller appointment mode, right? We talk about being an agent investor. We talked about the deal that we just did with Kevin, 501 Chestnut Street in Lynn. Guys, you need to be out there getting seller appointments. It's the number one thing that you can be doing as a real estate agent investor. It's the number one thing you could do as an agent. I talked off the top, and one of the first things I said today was that being an agent investor shouldn't take you more time. In fact, if we look at number 1, we're talking about ways to save time. Get more of your time back and spend that time generating more seller appointments, or spend less time working, right? Either put your time into things that are the 80-20 rule that are going to get you a bigger return, that are going to get you what you want, or relax and do nothing or do something fun. All right, so spend those first couple hours a day in seller appointment mode. Anytime that I talk to people about generating seller appointments, I don't know why, but they always go to cold calling. No idea why. There are so many ways that you can generate seller appointments. I talk about this all the time on my weekly call at www.partnerwithagенtinvestor.com. My internal acquisitions team, we generate over 100 seller appointments a week. Been doing that for over 10 years. I've never cold called. I've never once cold called. Maybe not never once, but I really don't. I haven't. It's not something I find interesting. I probably am not really that good at it. I don't really think it's that effective. Name all the reasons. But when I talk about generating seller appointments every day and spending an hour or 2 every day, I'm not talking about cold calling unless that's what you want to do. There are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ways to generate seller appointments on a daily basis that don't involve cold calling. If you are currently cold calling or you're dialing and you're doing really well with it, great. Keep doing it. Do whatever's working for you. But if you want to learn other ways to do this, go to www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com, and I can teach you guys some of the other ways to generate seller appointments. All right, number 3 out of the 8 ways to start building wealth today. These are things you can implement right now. Every day, when you get to your desk or when you start your day, wherever you are, make a list of all of the things that you want to accomplish that day and go in order of most impactful to least impactful. As salespeople, as entrepreneurs, we always think that we can do more than we can. And by definition, our brains are always going to go towards pleasure and away from pain. So when we have a list, we have a huge list of things that we want to do that day. By definition, it is ingrained in our brains, do the easiest things first. What do those things typically end up being? Checking email, calling somebody back, sending somebody a text message, scrolling on social media, etc. All stuff that typically is not the highest priority things. So in a lot of cases, we do the highest priority things last. Well, what happens? Well, we have 1,000,001 things to do in a day. In many cases, those things never get done. So prioritize what you need to do and literally order them. This should only take you 5 minutes in a day. Order them from most impactful to least impactful. And guess what? If you don't get to your entire list, well, hey, you've at least done the most impactful things. All right, number 4, stuff that you can do today to build your net worth. This is a huge one. It should just fall into the category of stop wasting time. But I have in here, stop wasting time with gut-a-minute meetings and training sessions. Plan your time. I already talked about this in the last bullet point. Make a list of the things that you want to accomplish that day. Do it from most impactful to least impactful. But part of that is, do not let gut-a-minute meetings, distractions, and training sessions that don't provide you with value get in the way. When you are self-employed, everybody always thinks you have all the time in the world. Oh, hey, you're available. Okay, let me talk to you. Let's set up a meeting. Let's get coffee. Let's meet with a new mortgage broker, whatever. Don't do those things. If you are not going to get a direct impact in your business from what you are doing, don't do it. Just because your real estate brokerage offers a training every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., don't just show up blindly. Now, I'm not telling you don't go to those training sessions. What I am telling you is think about whether you're getting value. Right? Are you getting value? Or are you showing up because they have them and driving 45 minutes into an office and sitting there and not really learning about what you need to learn about, and then networking with other agents that are in your office after the fact, and oh goodness, now it's 12:30 and I haven't gotten anything accomplished, okay? In my opinion, you should not be meeting face-to-face with very many people, okay? Of course, you're going to meet face-to-face with sellers. Of course, you're going to meet face-to-face in a lot of cases with buyers. Outside of that, it should be very, very limited if you want to build wealth. All right, number 5, things that you can start doing today to build wealth as a real estate agent. Get around other people who are doing what you want to do. Figure out what you want, figure out where you want to be 3, 5, 10 years into the future, and then find people who are either already there or are on the same mission as you. This is one of the most beneficial things that you can do that's often overlooked. They say that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. And if you're with a lot of people, and mostly with people who are not on the same mission as you or have not achieved what you want to achieve, it is going to be difficult for you to get there, right? Because they're going to have a different mindset than you. They're going to be willing to do different things than you. And, probably not the most, correct thing to say, but they're probably just going to distract you. They could be very nice people. They could be your friends, but spend time getting around other people that are doing what you want to do. All right, number 6, and this is one that I avoided for a very, very long time. A great wealth building thing that gets overlooked because it's so simple. And again, as entrepreneurs, as salespeople, we might not really love number 6, which is to set weekly metrics and look at them every week. Every single Tuesday at 6 a.m., me and a few of my team members, we look at our numbers every single week. I'm not kidding when I say it's the least enjoyable part of my week. I hate doing it because every single time that I get up and I'm on that call, I'm like, geez, like we didn't need to have a call. We didn't need to do this. But I will tell you, it drives your behavior. So once you know what your metrics are that you need to be successful, and you're looking at them every week, if you're hitting your numbers, that's great. You're on track. You don't really probably need to necessarily make a whole bunch of changes. But I can tell you, as for myself, high achiever company that's done a good amount of stuff, there's a lot of weeks where we're not hitting our numbers. We're going, geez, what is going on? Like, why is this happening? What do we need to change? When a lot of people set goals, and this is what I did for years, you set a goal in December or early January, then you don't look at it again. You don't track it on a weekly basis, and you have no idea whether or not you're on track. You need to know your numbers. You need to look at them every single week. It doesn't need to be a time-consuming thing. For me, like one of my most important metrics is how many seller appointments did my team generate this week? I look at that every week, right? If I'm supposed to generate 100 in a week, but we generate 50, it's like, well, what happened? What went wrong? What do we need to change? Right? We're looking at that every week. It doesn't mean, by the way, that you need to hit your metrics every week. I mean, you want to. It just means that you need to look at them and then make adjustments when necessary. All right, number 7. Thing that you can do today to start. Number 7, stop saying you'll start tomorrow. Stop saying you're not ready. Stop saying I'll do it another day. Stop saying I'll start at the beginning of the year. I mean, I'm kind of saying the same thing over and over again. Start small. You don't need to do everything in one day. There's a reason that there's a saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. When you're building a business, you need to have a long-term view. If you have big goals, you want to become a millionaire, a multimillionaire, you want to have assets, you want to build a real estate team, you want to sell a ton of houses, it's going to take a while, right? There's nobody that I know, and I'm sure there's exceptions to the rules, but there's nobody that I know that I've seen that hasn't worked really hard for a long period of time. I'm sure you guys have probably all heard about the 10,000 hour rule, but essentially the 10,000 hour rule was written about by Malcolm Gladwell, who's an author, and he basically says that you need 10,000 hours to be an expert in something. And you need to have that mindset that, it doesn't have to be 10,000 hours, but it's going to be a lot of hours. Why am I saying that? Saying it because it is more important to take smaller steps over a longer period of time than to try to sprint, right? The things that I'm talking about right now, they're really, when you really boil it down, they're lifestyle changes, right? Let's go through them all really quick. These are lifestyle changes, right? Limit your transactional work. That's a change in your lifestyle. Spend the first couple hours a day focused on seller lead generation. That's a lifestyle change. Make a list every day and think about how you work. That's a lifestyle change. Stop wasting your time with guided minute meetings. That's a lifestyle change. Get around other people who are doing what you want to do. It's a lifestyle change. Set weekly metrics, lifestyle. Like, these are all changes that you need to implement. They're lifestyle changes. They're literally meaning that not that your day is going to be harder. I don't think any of the stuff I talked about is super hard, but it is going to be different typically than what most people are already doing. Like, if you wrote down what you do every day and you did that for a week, and then you looked at it over the course of a couple of weeks, you would see that for most people who are not getting the results that they want, who don't have a lot of wealth, or who aren't on the right path, that they're not doing these things, right? They might even be doing the opposite of these things. They may be doing a ton of transactional work and taking a bunch of guided minute meetings and saying they're going to start tomorrow and be around a whole bunch of people that don't help them reach their goals. All right. Now, the last thing, number 8, utilize dead time by getting educated by podcasting, other like media. All right. So, Millionaire Habit. And again, all of this stuff, like as I'm sitting here talking about, this really is all lifestyle change stuff. So the old you used to get in your car and listen to the radio for an hour while you're driving to appointments. The new you is listening to podcasts or listening to an audiobook or listening to something educational that you need to learn about. That's not really hard, right? And in fact, if it's a business that you enjoy, right? I love listening to business podcasts. I do. Now, hey, I'm not perfect. There's times when I put the radio on in my car. I'm not telling you that you need to listen to 2 hours, 3 hours of podcasts a day, but make it a habit every day or every other day, whatever's feasible for you. Start getting educated on the go. Find the topics that you need to learn about, that you want to learn about. Get an audiobook, listen to a podcast, and put it on during your dead time. Don't take time out of your work day to do this because you don't need to. While you're cleaning your car, while you're cleaning your house, while you're walking your dog, while you're at the gym, while you're driving to appointments, while you're grocery shopping, name the time, right? We all have dead time where we can put something in our ears and listen to it and get educated. I call it for free. All this stuff is pretty much free nowadays, but free of time spent. You're not logging additional hours. Really, I mean, that's the whole premise of Agent Investor, right? You're not spending more time. You're not like people. A lot of people, we talked number 7. Somebody thinks, oh, I'll start tomorrow. Why do they think they need to start tomorrow? Well, they think they need all these extra hours. You don't need all these extra hours. If you follow step number 1, you put a $500 fee in your listing agreements, in your buyer agreements, and you get a VA, you should be getting back more time, right? You always want to look at how you're analyzing your time. Is this a good use of your time? Could a VA be doing it? If so, give the work to the VA and do the 80-20 rule. Focus on the 20% of what you do that gives you the 80% of the results. We all kind of know what it is in our business. So with all that being said, guys, jump on my next call at www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. It's live. You can ask questions. It is great for you to be a passive listener to this content, but be an active participant. Get on the call, ask questions. Hey, I give you my contact information, ways that you can reach out to me for help. Don't try to do this alone. I talk a lot about getting around other people that are doing what you want to do. If I'm one of those people, get on that call, start asking me questions. Let's do some deals together. Most of you know I have a goal this year of doing 100 agent partnership transactions. The only way I can do that is by building more relationships with more agents. Reach out to me. I'm easy to get in touch with. Start with that first call at www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. And if you guys like what I have to say, you want to do more partner deals, you want to get more seller appointments, you want to get seller leads by us, make sure you jump on that call. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Again, www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com.